As you can probably tell, that video wasn't meant to go away at that specific time, but you know what, we moved, we'll deal with it anyway. Hello everybody, how are we all? Hoping incredibly well. Welcome to the stream. It's going to be a relatively short one, because I'm a little bit busy at past, so I'm just going to hop on, talk a little bit about the transfer window being open, what it means for Leeds United, what various bits and bobs mean, and also cover the fact that a lot of people are already losing their head over basically nothing. I've already had a couple of people like ping me messages being like, very interesting how Simicast isn't here yet. And it's like, the window has been open for 20 hours. Liverpool do not yet have Kirkes. This is going to happen. And the amount of... Hold on, I'm going to try and set my light to its normal levels just to hope that that works. Give me a second. Ah! Okay, cool. That might be okay. Anyway, yeah, there we go. Yeah, so the first message that I'm going to give across in this little stream is we can be calm, we can be chill, we can be fine. Everything is okay. We have a whole 10 days right now, and then it's like a few more days. And then guess what? We've got a whole summer. We're going to get things done. Everyone that's spooked on day one, stop it, behave. A little bit of a further message is if you haven't yet, and this is again going to be the ad read that I always do, get a ticket to the Leeds Creator Cup. Links are down below. All of your favourite Leeds United creators are facing off in a fun little charity match for the Leeds Creator Cup. It's not an easy boy to put on, so I would hugely appreciate as many people as possible hopping on in and just saying hello and making it worth it, because we're raising money for a good cause, being Prostate Cancer UK. 20th of July, John Shell Centre for Sport. Be there, or be square, or rectangles, whatever shape you fancy. Let's go for it. No, it'll be fun. Evening, Joe. No, Phillips, please. I wouldn't mind it as a bench option, to be completely fair. I think his issue right now is that he's had coaching that doesn't care about him much. Pep is not a very good man manager, as far as I can tell. He's a very, very clever tactical guy. But whenever he's had sort of disagreements with players, it's not been a case of let's work through it and let's find a solution. It's been a case of, and get in the sea, you're not going to be at this club anymore, which is a not good thing to do when you're a coach of very expensive footballers. And I think it's something that Farke wouldn't necessarily fall into. I think there are worse options than someone like a Kalvin. Hello, Mark. I think the impression 49ers ambition is that... Sorry, I think the impression that 49ers ambition that small clubs are showing a willingness to get top players, but we aren't showing a big club. What? What do you mean? Complicated. You've confused me there. You may need to explain. I believe that smaller clubs are showing more ambitions than us. Phillips and I don't think we'll do Wilson. I think Wilson would be incredibly stupid. Phillips would be spare parts. Let's be completely honest here. Kalvin Phillips would not be coming here to start games of football. If he was, then he would be in the wrong, because that isn't going to happen for him. Just the second, I was thinking, this window's been open for hours. I need signings. Madness, isn't it? I blame YouTube. There's a long conversation to be had on who I blame for that. The long conversation was, in fact, my dissertation for university, and how social media is gradually completely screwing everything in lots of different directions. It's a mix of TikTok and YouTube and Twitter all coming together and making everyone feel that, like, you can't explain it. On this one, she's having a bit of a chill, I guess. I'm guessing somewhere in Yorkshire, but I don't know. Let's take camera. Remember this. That's a good point. Yeah, but you're gonna have to explain this one because I'm not entirely. How do you mean showing more ambition? Had the confidence ripped out of him, needs to get fit. Surely wouldn't want to let us down. Slight gamble. It's a bit of a gamble, but it's a gamble that I think is sensible in a way. But it's one that I may have to do its own little video on. It's a non-delayed gratification society. Too many things are built for the immediate dopamine hit. There is that. That is a very, very big part of it. But I think another pretty significant aspect of all of that is is that everyone is now in a place where they're conditioned to believe that their opinion holds as much value as all of the other opinions on the planet. And fair enough, sure, have your opinions. But there is a sort of innate problem with that, and that would be the fact that a lot of the time people's opinions aren't based on lots of learning and stuff. And I'm going to say the big scary word, right? Brexit. And when you're looking at stuff like Brexit ages ago, you had Michael Gove, well-educated politician, go on television and say that we don't want to hear anything more from experts, actually. We want to hear what normal people think. And it's like, sure, you do. But at the same time, they're experts because they've spent their entire lives reading about these things, and therefore they know. Like, would you rather have a team of football scouts pick out a player, or Big Daz from down the pub who has 7 pints down him, but at the same time, he really thinks that that bloke from Greece looks good on a football pitch? Like, come on, there's a balance to be found, and I think that's currently where we're at. People are in the position where A, they want gratification now, and B, they want exactly what it is that they think that they want right now. So it combines into this big mess. Yeah, I've written like 20,000 words on that, but that's the basic summary of we broke society, and we did it with dopamine. Missed trick with it. I don't think we missed a trick. The way that it's effectively worked, as far as I'm able to tell, is Leeds were in for Kelleher, because of course we were, because we wanted a goalkeeper. He was a goalkeeper that was going on the market. Brilliant. However, West Ham and Brentford were also in for Kelleher. Odds are we offered, in terms of financial package, everything that was needed, both on the player side and on the club side. But when it comes down to it, he's going to want to keep playing in the Premier League. And right now, Brentford are in a better position to continue playing in the Premier League. So it's not that we're not trying to make these moves. It's that we're currently in a position, due to the previous ownership getting us relegated and putting us into a shocking situation, we're not in the position to sign those players because there's other options on the market for them. Like, as much as we like to think Leeds have a choice to make here, do we want X, Y, or Z player? The players also have a choice. The players can also go, oh, that one is more likely to keep me on the top tier. So we didn't miss a trick. We're just not in the position to be someone's first choice right now, which is a sucky place to be. But it's a place that we can work through, is what I'm going to go with. Lennon Miller is also rumoured with Celtic. I'd imagine he would be. He was a very, 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 very good player in the Scottish Leagues last season. I'd quite like to have him, I'll be honest with you. But again, it's a case of maybe he fancies Celtic because he knows he can take his time, work his way into it, would get European football at the same time, and then comes to the Premier League at some point in the future once he's built a little bit more of a portfolio as a player. Still a huge need for face-to-face interaction and not be solely reliant on social media. We're humans, not machines. We are indeed. And that's why I quite like doing streams and videos and stuff, because it's like, cool, here's me, here's my personality. I'm going to put it on a screen, and that's as close as we can get to a face-to-face interaction for now. That's another big reason for doing the charity match, because it was like, I know all of these people through internet stuff, but at the same time, I've met like 2 of them. So do a charity match, and then everyone manages to say hello, has a good time. Bosh, easy. People need to realise we're not an attractive option. If you're a footballer with no love for Leeds, and it's either join newly promoted club or an established Premier League team. Yeah. So right now, the teams that we are more attractive than in the Premier League for someone that doesn't have an inbuilt bias. So if someone is from Leeds and a Leeds fan, obviously they're not going to want to go to Scum. But that's not the case for the average player. Instead, if you are the average footballer who is from Surrey, I don't know, I don't particularly care, that detail doesn't matter, you're going to look at the Premier League and you're probably going to say, I'd probably go to Everton over Leeds. The 2 teams with more attractive prospects than right now are Sunderland and Burnley. And we need to work to be in a position where we are a more attractive prospect than all of those other Premier League sides. Now, there might be some players that are like, yeah, well, I'm in for the love of the game, or I've supported Leeds from abroad. but they've got those baked-in biases, which helps us out. But that's not going to be the option for absolutely everyone. And on this being promised an aggressive signing window, it's been 20 hours. We can chill. We're okay. We're good. Let's just... Okay, everyone. Breathe out. And in. It's been 20 hours. We're okay. We're fine. We're zen. Okay. Now let's have a think on whether or not we sign someone today or on Thursday will realistically make a difference to our performance at the end of the season. I would think Sly was kidding. However, I've seen Sly's comments a lot of the time. So Sly is one of those where I am going to approach it with caution and approach it as if absolutely everything is being serious. That is a good point, Whitesnake. It has been 1 day and 7 hours in some places in the world. Therefore, we're really behind it, you know? If prime player doesn't want to play for us, you have no choice. Yeah, like you can put all the money towards it that you want, but it's not necessarily going to work out. Struggling with the meltdown from fans on YouTube already. Yeah, this is why it's going to be real fun. But you know what? That's what transfer season is always like, and you kind of get familiar with it. It's one of those where you take your time, and eventually it'll all maybe work out in the end. And if it doesn't, then we can complain. But at the end of the day, we've got ages, and people were losing their nut in January, saying like, "No, we've just thrown promotion away. We didn't buy any players." Okay, so if we would have bought Cameron Archer then for 18 million quid, I can't remember what it was, and then we've got him now, and he's stuck here. He's probably not a Premier League starting player. We would have just chucked that money in the bin. So if we have patience, look in the long term, we'll be fine. Player doesn't want to play for a job. I've covered that one, haven't I? They're guaranteed Prem next season. We're not. This is it. They're more established. They've had the time there. They've got a manager that is fairly consistently baked in, and as Daniel Farke is equally baked in, he's got a very firmly held position at Leeds United. Well, I say that. Fans would have you believe quite the opposite. It's not as concrete as Thomas Frank, which again gives you a reason to think that's a little bit of a wobble. If a player doesn't want to go, yeah. Just reminded that we're behind Brentford with the game and when Bielsa was sacked. I don't know what I think on when Bielsa left. I'll be completely honest with you. It was a weird time. I don't know whether it was the right idea or the wrong idea. What I do know is the right idea is you popping a like on the stream. That was slick. That was smooth. And also subscribing if you're not. Please, thank you. Ooh. Could have baked in a relegation clause to, I'm guessing that says Kelleher, and would have signed him. No, because even then, he's got a relegation on his record, which a lot of people are looking at Ramsdale right now and saying he might be a good goalkeeper, but look at how many times he's been relegated. If Kelleher's very first season after after a transfer, his very first full season, which it will be, is a relegation, he's the goalkeeper that's taken a team down. It's not a good spot to be in for a goalie. Look at Jack Clark, left for Ipswich, now they're relegated and Sunderland promoted. Yeah. I remember being on with you and Joe on a stream, definitely different from chatting and in person. Yeah. Like, it'd be real nice. I wouldn't say they're guaranteed, but they're in a more firm spot than us. And I think players like Kelleher, who are looking to properly have a breakthrough season, will look at that and think, let's find something reliable. Right, I'm going to skim through. On this one, Leeds attracted Rafinha as a fairly new team to the Premier League. We need to remember that we got Rafinha on the very last day of that window, which means that a lot of clubs had already done all of their business, and Ren just sort of needed rid because he didn't want to be there anymore. He was potentially being a little bit of a bad presence in the dressing room, all that kind of stuff. So he had to find a move. We needed a winger. That's one where his options aren't as big as they might have been if he would have moved earlier in the window, because he didn't know if he wanted to. If I remember right, Ren lost a Champions League qualifier or something, and then he was like, okay, cool, I'll just move to the Premier League, and then more eyes on me. like there's reasoning behind it, and that is one of those edge cases. But players will look at Leeds' potential, and if we're in the Champions League, we're playing time and money. It's quite such as Brentford over Leeds. We should bid for Visa and we're not going to get Visa and Bomo. And Bomo has just moved, hasn't he? Yeah, that'll do. You calling me child? How rude. Although I appreciate it. My youthful, luscious skin that's got a spot about here. No, that's not great. Players don't want wage cuts if we go back down. There's also this, yeah. Yes, the hysterical lynchings were consistent. There were a few times where I was like, if we don't sign anyone, it's fine. And it was just like, oh, he's confident. Kill him. No, we're okay. We're good. We're fine. We're chill. Let's not do murdering each other because we have different opinions. It's okay. Make the first signing a killer and that'll increase Leeds and mod. Maybe. But I think going structurally is probably ideal. No one's going to Prime. They haven't been that amazing. It takes a couple of injuries. That's true for everyone. On this, there were a lot of people that looked at Ampadu as our signing first and were like, I don't know about that one. Because when they had seen him, he was underperforming in relegated sides. So, like, as much as it wasn't a trap that we fell into, let's not pretend that relegation doesn't hurt your reputation as a footballer, because it does, because it naturally will do. We signed a German international and 2 Spanish internationals. 2. Oh, yeah, Llorente. Yeah, fair. We'll still make signings. It just doesn't have to be on the first day of the window, you know? Bad idea with Phillips. Yes, we live in the sentiment will get us. I don't think he will get us relegated. I think it'll be okay. Doing all right. I say all right, but in the sort of standard level of all right that you can be in the current situation. Are we not all children? In this beautiful world of ours? I don't know. No player with any ambition should want to play in front of 15,000 fans. Counterpoint. And this is a counterpoint that I will need to do a very, very quick Google search on. There we go. Counterpoint 1, it's 17,000. 2, the third lowest attendance in the Premier League is Palace, 25,000. Palace are in Europe next year. So it doesn't particularly matter how many people you're playing in front of, it's more the level of football that you're playing. And for a lot of people, it will be the shop window you're able to put yourself in. Like for Rafinha, we knew that we weren't Rafinha's end goal. Very, very clearly, he's a guy that knew Ronaldinho and was always a Barcelona fan. We weren't going to be the final spot for Rafinha, but we were that little boost up. So for Kelleher, yeah, maybe he's got something bigger in mind, but this is just a stop on his journey, which isn't a bad show. I'm very quickly gonna skim through everything, but I don't want to miss anything. How many days is the first window open from? Until the 10th, so that's until second day of the charity walk that me and Joe run. Yeah, a little bit. Joe, I'll take it. You know, it's my favorite quote. It's from a very, very, very old episode of Doctor Who, and hang on, I need to jank that about a bit. That'll do. It's a Tom Baker one, in which he's just sort of fizzing about and talking to people, and there's a very serious army man. It might be the Brigadier, I'm not entirely sure. But like this very serious army man looks at him and goes, do you have to be such a child? And he's like, there's no point growing up if you can't be a bit childish sometimes. And I love that quote so much, because being a grown-up gives you the flexibility to be a bit childish. That's lovely. I like that idea so much. No comment. No, everything's fine. Yeah, we're just running things quite well. On this, I agree getting rid of Harrison, but that's because he's better for morale. Bamford, it depends on if we get any bids for him. Voba is a maybe. It depends on what happens with Firpo. You say Joseph and Brendan. Brendan played the second most minutes in our team last season. Not dead wood, and at the very least is decent presence on the bench. Joseph I'd probably loan. Phillips is being paid to leave and told to take his Achilles with him. I can barely think of a less unambitious signing. Less unambitious? You indirectly calling Kalvin an ambitious signing? That's quite funny. 49ers are this isn't going to keep happening. It cannot keep being so quiet. It won't, because that's not how the Premier League works. Because media is loud here. Are we paying 10 for Kalvin? I don't know. Sign of poor management of poor team setup. It's not as the sign of a poor player. No, it isn't. But at the same time, it's often indicative of, is it going to hurt your reputation? Which means that if we are candidates to go down and someone like a Kelleher is looking to properly make a bit of a reputation as a player, then it is totally understandable that they'll look at that and go, maybe I don't want the bad impact of what goes on there. Yo, buenos dias. One day is another one. 80 million is too big a gamble for those of you. Yeah, I mean, Buendia on loan, I wouldn't mind. Permanently, I'd be a little bit more spooked about. Yeah, I'm not. I don't know how I feel. I'll have to have a bit of a think about it, not on stream, because on stream you just have, like, in this case, 106 voices shouting at you, being like, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this, we need to do this. No, I think we need to do this. And then you just listen to the loudest people. Whereas I might take a little bit of time thinking on the Kalvin thing and get back to you. Aronson, not BL. I mean, last time we were in the Premier League, you would have looked at our side and you would have thought not one of those players was Premier League. How much of that was the individuals? How much of that was Jesse Marsh? Because I know that Aronson's technical work isn't the highest of quality, but keep him on the bench. He doesn't need to start. Get another number 10, and then you got someone with ridiculous amounts of energy, able to come off the bench, see what happens. Be fine. Go from Liverpool. I don't know what you mean here. Like, he's gone to Brentford for minutes more than anything. Just drive what are the likely stories. I don't know about likely stories. Kelleher has gone to Brentford. What else has gone on today? I don't know. A little bit of chat about maybe Kalvin for 10 million, which I'm not 100% on. Again, the Jesse Marsh thing. I genuinely think he wouldn't be too awful, but we can have that conversation. Mind-blowing that anyone thinks we're a more attractive Prem club than any but the two coming. But that's what I think. Compared to those two, we're a more attractive prospect. Compared to like all other clubs in the Premier League, we are a less attractive prospect because we're not as certain to be sticking around. Yeah, Rodrigo was all right, to be fair. Also, Buendia on loan with an obligation to buy if we stay up would be a good signing. The issue is with unlucky with injuries. At what point is it unlucky? And at what point is it genuine recurring injury problems? On the subject of recurring problems, about 60% of you aren't subscribed. So if the button down there isn't clicked, just boop it, and it'll give 1p to Prostate Cancer UK, because on the day of the charity match, I'm going to give my number of subscribers in pennies to Prostate Cancer UK, in addition to everything else that we raise. Who would your pick be for keeper? Finn Dachman is what I'm going to have a look at, because I had a chat with Joe about this, and I looked at his numbers, and I was like, you are a ridiculously good shot stopper, and you're playing at Augsburg, so you won't be too expensive. People are saying Pope, I think he's not really exceptional as a goalkeeper, and he's not too confident with his feet. Petrovic would be ideal, but he's quite hard to get out of the weird, like, blues group, or whatever the hell it's called. Michael Cooper, I'm not convinced. Idling Dachman, but thank you, Paul. I agree. We need stars popped off the bench, Aronson, but need our first 11 stars from it. Well, yeah, but that Like the earlier message was like, we need to sell Aronson. It's like, no, because you can't just be like, right, we'll sell everyone and we'll buy a first 11. Okay, who's coming on off the bench? Because you've sold everyone. That's the issue. He's not another Vivaldi. He's genuinely quite good. What advantages we have is that 10 clubs are in Europe. Is it 10 or is it 9? I don't know. But there's a lot. And yeah, we've got less football to play, which is helpful. There's no point in being grown up if you can't be childish sometimes. That's the one. Thank you, Whitesnake. I fucking love Doctor Who. It's so good. Darlow's solid in Premier League is not that Premier League experience. And I think we can find better for relatively inexpensive amounts. I kind of agree, but there's not tons of progression there, which is a bit of a shame. Pope seems like a short-term fix. There's I can find a joke here. Yeah, but he's great at dealing with crosses. That'll do. Has Diego Luna ever come up as a target for Leeds? No, but I know he starred in Andor, and he was quite good in that. What I'm going to do, Mark, is I am going to remove the message for a fairly good reason, and I'm also going to do this. This isn't because I don't like the message. This is because I'm curious about the message, but I don't want to do spoilers, because I know there's a couple of people that watch me that haven't watched the episode yet. So I'm going to play it a little bit safe. Again, this isn't an anti-Mark move. This is an anti-spoilers move. So I want to, because it was spoiled for me, like a day in advance, because someone leaked like the entire plot online, and it was like, oh no. I don't mind it. I can't go into more detail for obvious reasons, but yeah. Yeah, we will link with Diego Luna. I was just trying to make a silly acting joke. I don't know, because Somerville's been very injured all season long. I would rather have Solomon in addition to that, because it feels like Somerville destabilizes the way we play a lot of the time as well. We do, and I think we will have better quality and depth. Okay, I'm glad you understand. What makes a goalkeeper an elite goalkeeper? That is a very good question. I would say a mix of both the good shot stopping and the being very good with feet. If you've only got one, then I feel like you're a little bit. If you got both, fantastic. And I think it's fair to have a trade-off between the two of good with feet, good with hands. And I think Dachman is good enough with his hands to be worth that trade. Anyway, what I'm going to do, because I, in theory, should have been on a call with someone 5 minutes ago, is I'm going to end the stream there. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, pop a like on it. That would be wonderful. Subscribe if you're not yet. Could even be a channel member. It's $2.99 a month, and you get like all of my videos early, like as soon as they're recorded, rather than when I schedule them to go out. And yeah, hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you later. Toodaloo, amigas.